because of other work commitment, which she's leading it, and then we all supporting she can lead that. But we indeed looking at it thoroughly because the other problems that we are the only e-Gov, so we can't benchmark with any. So we look at all other technology given department, how they are doing it, how they've been investing, what are the other realignment they are doing it. So that work is been ongoing, and we continue to have a different workshop in terms of looking at it.
And Chair, just to add, the essence of it is that we are losing good skills because of the salaries we are paying. Therefore, I'm happy that we've got the support of the Premier's office on the issue, that we should really be treated differently because we are a specialized department. Thanks.
Okay, if I may. All right.
I think let's also indicate that whilst we're working on the structure, we've also undertaken a process of auditing. What type of skills do you have? And that report is going to assist in informing us on this 11 years of operation. By the way, we have just been celebrating our birthday of 11 years. So it is indeed time to say, where can we change? It's going to inform that particular restructuring process based on the skills and the future skills that we require. So as soon as that report is ready, we would have no objection in bringing it here as soon as it is tabled. But the provisional report has indeed been tabled with the Office of the Premier. It's getting at the attention it deserves from the Cabinet. Thank you.
Okay. I want us to pause a bit on this discussion because we should have a proper discussion, and I'm glad that you're saying that you'll present, yeah. Because my sense is that out of all the departments that are there, and certainly in the country, you're the only e-Gov. So you really need to set the pace for where we are going. The continent is far behind on where the technology is in the world. Far, far behind. So I think that's a very important discussion, and I don't want us to rush it, but I want us to really spend some time and focus on it. So I'm just going to take two hands here and then move to the floor so that we're able just to close off on the presentations we've received. Member Manzi, and then Gentile, you'll follow.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the replies to the officials. If I may, Chair, I do welcome the offer of bringing a presentation to us about the new structure of the department. If I can also ask we get included in that the progress with regards to the staff working from home as to the office, because that's been, I know there's been deadlines, no, you can all laugh. There's been deadlines of the 14th of September where everyone ought to be back in the office full time, according to a reply from the MEC. So we'd like to see that's being adhered to. And also, Chair, the department mentioned they've installed or activated a ProWatch productivity monitoring system for staff working at home, whether that's been installed on all their computers, because it hadn't previously. So thank you very much for that, Chair.
Gentile, thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Just a question that I think may have been missed on my initial questions around the overachievement on youth tax MEC. That initially you would have had a target of 1. Now you've done 5, which we appreciate, and I think young citizens of Gauteng really appreciate. But for me, what are the costs associated to the 4 extra, and how will it compromise you in the long run? Because we know already you are struggling as a department financially in terms of other obligations of the department. Thanks.
Okay. Chair. So let me just check before you. Okay. Let's take your comment, ma'am. I'm so sorry.
Chair, I think I would want to request that the department give us, in terms of the percentages, where they've able to empower the designated groups.
Seeing one side. So if we can just take these hands. Yeah, I don't see anything that side. Bengcola, if Bangaza just la pambil so that we can see.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Asisipho from Thembisa Oikuruleni. I am one of the disadvantaged ICT entrepreneurs. It wouldn't go without saying that I have been actively involved in smart CCTV for the community of Thembisa. I never came across any young-owned or woman-owned company as a competition within the area, let alone a company that is youth-owned or woman-owned ICT company within Thembisa. We request transparency in terms of procurement and enterprise selection. Lastly, this is the second time that I request fair access to RFQs, as I am a company that has more than 40 community smart PTZ cameras without any recognition by the department, even if the camera's existence has given the community and the police a peace of mind. Thank you.
Sanibonani. Igama ngu Solomon Nkuna from Isango in Ekurhuleni region. Ngokuhlala ngihlala eWard 102 in Thembisa. Sanibonani to the leadership of e-government yethu. Ngizomama lapha athinta one of the critical issues that is affecting our community MEC. The issue of people with disabilities is clearly and really that it's not attending by the department in terms of our opportunities. Sifila ukuthi hayi ukuthi anisebenzi niyasebenza angithi ukhona lento okuthiwa asikhuphuleni amasokisi. So MEC sicela ukuthi ne e-Gov i-department yakho yonke asikhuphuleni amasokisi, siba accommodate omama, si accommodate also nabantu aba is no longer called disability people. They call them people with they are people, what they call it, GPV.
Persons with special means.
People with physical what challenges. Ngikhohlwile. Angithi besibabiza ama people with disabilities. So bathi singababiza ama people with disabilities. Kunegama baye basitshela ngalo lalabantu abakhubazekile angithi. So we have to respect that, because these are our people also. But besingathanda ukuthi in Ekurhuleni as a whole, e-Gov, when you bring this kind of a development, sicela ni consult ama stakeholders, because we don't want a project makuthiwa iyarana for i-service delivery, kuthiwa i-project ivaliwe, abantu bayayitoyitoya, you didn't consult them. That is the problem, a main problem that we are also facing in the community level. So mine is to say it, besingacela ukuthi at least niphakamise nje kancanyana nje amasokisi. Those who want to engage, sizo engageana babu. I saw one of my former Ward 102 member la. Babundima, siyabonga kakhulu. Siyabonga. No, it's really, I'm so expired, mangibona babundima, bas representer in government. Serious. We are happy as Thembisa, as Ekurhuleni as a whole. So, but kusho ukuthi ngiyaxolisa mangikhuluma into ehlekisayo. But ngiyabonga, it was my submission. Thank you.
Okay, let's move to the next one. I'm told lunch ends at 2, so we need to rush a bit.
Hello? On. Hello, everyone. Oh, okay, my name is Tebogo Selefsele, and then I'm from the Eastern Corridor as well. What I have here, actually, it's suggestions that I'll make an example about myself. I've been a young person. I've exited being a young person. I'm a young adult now, without any job at hand. But what I did for my community is to stand for them, to say, as young people, as you've got no place whereby you will gather the skills for the future, then we're going to build one for you, even though we don't have money. We did that we are turning 14 years this year. We've been upskilling young people in and out, year and year, in and out. But then now, the challenge is that these young people, they are not exposed to be having, relevant jobs according to the skills that they have learned. And young people are not involved in most of the programs that are happening in Gauteng. I'll speak for my community because this was almost the second time we heard about the hackathon, of which is this year was very successful because we were fully involved. And we brought students with skills. And those students went to be finalists as well. So that means it is evident that the skills that we're teaching these young people are the skills that are needed. We even teach school teachers, AI, all these things, unfunded, 14 years, and we don't worry. But what we want to say is that as the department, please recognize us and use us as your stakeholders to say, e-Gov should not operate only in Gauteng or wherever in the offices. It should be visible in townships. When you go to Thembisa, you'd find e-Gov is involved. Wherever you go, you must find e-Gov or the government itself involved so that you are able to see what we are actually trying to do to empower our young women and men. So I'm pledging to you guys to say, please recognize us and use us. We are here. We're going nowhere. Please make use of us while we're still here. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get the last hand.
Sorry, am I audible? Okay. So my name is Tumisho Macheru. I'm representing the winning group from the Youth Tech Expo Hackathon. So we were called today to comment on the undergoings of the Youth Tech Expo, but I'll just comment on this, and then perhaps when we get to that session, I'll comment on that. So the main thing I just wanted to, or the main points I just wanted to say, so I just wrote them down right here. Okay, so there was a point mentioned about the lopsided positions in Gauteng e-Gov where most of the positions are held by HR. We've noticed that in public spaces, there is sometimes network and Wi-Fi, right? But however, the Wi-Fi speeds are quite unbearable. It's very hard to use. And judging from what the portfolio has spoken about with the lack of, network professionals within that, it shows, within the public spaces where, you can see that there's maybe 30, 40 people trying to use the same Wi-Fi, but it's very slow. In libraries where people are trying to do research, it's very, very slow. So it's not very feasible to have. So maybe that Wi-Fi could serve about 2 people, but when it comes to a group of children who just want to go to the library and be, doing their research, it's not possible to serve 50 plus people, which is a big problem. So I just wanted to say that with that, lopsidedness, it does show in the infrastructure, and we're asking that, can that be addressed? So that's the first point. And then the second point is that, you mentioned that Gauteng e-Gov turns 11 years. which means that when Gauteng e-Gov, you know, would have started, I would have been 14. But the issue with that I see is that Gauteng e-Gov, for me personally, in my capacity, has not been very present in terms of, you know, their participation in the economy. We have seen international companies come to our schools, your Microsoft, as you mentioned, your AWS, your Google Cloud. They often make these resources available to us from a very young age. I mean, I think from 14 years, we've been trained to do Excel, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint. So we never see e-Gov mentioned in any of those things. So we don't even know they exist for us to perhaps participate in those specific roles. And that might also speak to why there are less professionals in e-Gov, perhaps interested in ICT, because we don't know where they participate in the communities. They are quite far, as someone has mentioned here. And then the last thing is that, just to also point out, maybe the reason why perhaps there's a lack of youth in maybe perhaps also in e-Gov is that there's a high incentive for international or other international companies to take youth, right? Especially youth skilled in ICT. I mean, the other day I attended a seminar from New Zealand, and they're interested in taking youth who are skilled with ICT skills, your Microsoft skills, CompTIA, networking, Cisco. So in that case, they are encouraging us to go overseas. They are not encouraging us to stay here. Even when we pass 5 years experience, we are encouraged to say, hey, leave your country and go build elsewhere. Whereas in government, we are not encouraged. So that's what I would suggest, is that perhaps make it more of an initiative to involve yourselves in the community so that we can see ourselves in that future with you guys and work with you guys instead of having to look elsewhere. So yeah, that was just my main comments. Thank you.
All right, if we can respond, try not make it too lengthy, please.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. See, going forward, we need to go to Microsoft and say, use our branding. Because we, you know, the MEC spoke about collaborative relations that we are using to bring services to the people of Gauteng. And the first company that we collaborate with would be that Microsoft. We are the ones that actually go and negotiate with Microsoft, not just for Gauteng, for everyone in South Africa. And we brought Microsoft to government. But what they are not saying to you is that it's e-Gov that actually brings us to the communities. So we will indeed correct that, because we are the ones that have a partnership with Microsoft. Hence you were hearing Ubabundima was a Ward 102 talking about legacy debts that we have with Microsoft. It's a long-standing relationship. So we will fix that, young people of Ekurhuleni, that Microsoft must come to you and say, we have been brought to you by the government of Gauteng. And team communications must accompany them and carry the branding of the Gauteng province. If it ban about as a Microsoft is standing here, I want to say as a Gauteng standing like this, so that there is no misinterpretation of the commitment that we have to the people of, particularly young people of Uma, and Usandisiwe on issues that are affecting work being given to young people. And I think it has been raised earlier on that this year we've had budget challenges. We did go out on the road shows to consult all the stakeholders, particularly the persons living with disabilities, and we engaged with them. However, whilst we have done well in giving work to others, we still have not reached that target because of the budget challenges that we are experiencing this year. We are hopeful, Chairperson, that when we are going to the adjustment budget, some of those challenges are going to be given attention so that we can quickly recover. The issues that relate to the spending On the Youth Tech Expos, whilst we have, we're targeting one for the quarter, and yet we went to all the corridors. A member gently requested a breakdown and an indication of how has that affected us from a spending perspective. I'm going to consult with our strategy unit to provide written responses in that regard, because we were indeed not expecting that question. But I do suspect that, Chairperson, it would have an implication that we did not anticipate that particular change of a program. From a planning perspective, but we will indeed come back to you and give you a breakdown in that regard. Thank you very much.
Okay. Are we fine? Okay. All right. To the next item, which we had left out, the Spina Maji. Yeah, the second quarter performance, which we've not done. The measurement for service impact. I think take the next one also, ne? Yeah, and then the youth take. So if you can try to cover them, just 5 minutes each, please. Are you ready? Okay, let's start. You've got 5
Afternoon
minutes.
once again. Taking the summary of the House resolutions that were sent to the department, which is looking to the Q2 performance, the resolution on the measurements of service impact, and also the one that is looking to the resolution on the implementation of the integrated and life cycle that was provided, was talking to the workshop that was still going to take place between the department and the University of Johannesburg, looking at the advancement of data-driven engagement, which that workshop did take place in February this year, under the theme of practical context, that is showing the NRT methodology.
I'm just going to
on
stop.
the
Can we
issue
just
of-
get it projected? And then be mindful that you only have 5 minutes, so you can cut down on the introductions and all of that. All right, I think present, whilst they're trying to sort out the presentation so that we don't delay.
Okay, thank you. Then when it comes to the progress on that one, as I've stated that we're looking at the partnership with the universities and also take into consideration that as the department, we did partner with the Innovation Hub, which is one of the agency for the Department of Economic Development that is also having a similar mandate with ourselves so that we are able to drive some of these. And the issue of the UJ part, it is driven from the OOP, which is the Office of the Premier, because this year even the GCR is celebrating 20 years. So in that celebration of 20 years, there are some researches that are being driven involving all the tertiary institutions, even the TVETs in the province. So we are conducting that at that level. Then moving, also taking into consideration the part of the challenge that we did in the last committee, stated that with the Innovation Hub, they are also lacking the part of internal research expertise. So it's also dependent on the universities, which we are also partnering with. Then moving to the second resolution on the issues of the network and also the development of the digital transformation that we spoke to and committed as a department. This is to confirm that as the department, we did develop the ICT strategy, which the strategy was adopted by the EXCO this year in June 2026. And one of the areas that the strategy is looking at, the issue of accelerating the infrastructure upgrade, and also the issue of focusing on the GPN feasibility study, because the intention of the department is to ensure that we commercialize GPN.
If she's almost done, maybe prepare for the next presentation because you're going to waste more time trying to get the presentation up. That's why I think proceed with your presentation and then let them just prepare for the next one if it's going to take too long. Charlene? Are we fine there? Okay.
The part of the feasibility study that we are currently working on in commercializing the GBN. So that was actually the last part of, because it also talks to the issue of the cybersecurity in different aspects that is entailed into the strategy. So that was the last part. Then moving fast with youth, it's another presentation. No? I think that's a disadvantage, Honorable, of starting in between the male figures. All right.
Also, 3 minutes here, manje. Summarize.
Good afternoon, everybody. As I'm walking here to the hot seat, abantu bathi usheshiseke ngoba kulunch. So I'm going to try to be as quick as possible. Colleagues, what is important for me is to start to address the issue of the youth expos. Just to recap, from our performance, we had earmarked to do 10 youth expos for this current financial year. So the youth expos that we intended to do were spread according to quarters. For the first quarter, we were supposed to do 1. And then the others were going to be done in each quarter, 3, 3, 3. So to respond to the question of why they were combined into the first quarter that we previously finalized, is because we changed the model. We went straight to do hackathons, which we went to 5 corridors. As a result, we were able to take other youth expos that we're supposed to do in other quarters, and then we do in 1. So I think we need to revise the way we spread our youth expos for the life of this financial year. Because of the nature of the program, we are no longer going to be doing them in 1, 3, 3, 3. It's going to be 1 youth expo in 1 month, and then we do about 5. So that's what I wanted to clarify in terms of us overachieving the first quarter. So in terms of this presentation, the portfolio committee had sent us specific questions which are intended to enhance and improve the engagement that we have with the youth expos. One of them, which I'm going to focus on, I'm not going to go through all slides, besides to indicate that we have embraced the suggestions and commitment to improve. We have taken in good spirit what the portfolio committee has given guidance to the department. One of them, we need to improve on cost effectiveness and value for money when we do youth expos. It's supposed to show in the screen. So the second one is formalized partnership and clarify commitments. Number 3, we need to strengthen post-expo monitoring and evaluation. We need to expand the scale of intervention. We need to demonstrate long-term socio-economic impact. So when we were responding to these questions, one will recognize that on the left-hand side, there is a physical experience. When you do physical experiences where we do the physical attendance, where we go to a specific venue, we engage with young people in that particular venue. So the portfolio committee is saying to us, department, can you also look at how you can do a digital extension instead of having people physically on the premises where you are training them for the Youth Expo or to do hackathons. So we will be doing that program where even if you are not in the Youth Expo, you are able to participate in the Youth Expo even if you are at home. This is the program that we're going to be developed as we're going forward. So that's the first point that we are trying to do in terms of responding to what we need to do in terms of expansion. Number 2, we need to do exhibitions where we exhibit, we showcase our skills and our offerings to the youth and bring in other ICT sector organizations that are also involved in skill transfer. So in terms of that exhibition, we will call upon those service providers to work with us, but we are going to do it digitally as well. You are able to do that even if you're at home. You see those offerings that we'll be doing. So I'm not going to go through one by one, but I'm just trying to showcase that we have embraced each and every component of having a hybrid model for the youth to participate without even going there. Because the methodology that we're using for now, we're not going to be focusing on mass participation of youth. The Youth Expo, the hybrid model focuses only on the specific number of youth. Last time we indicated to the portfolio committee that we are going to only target about 120 per corridor. They will participate for 2 days, and then they will solve a G13 problem. So others are going to participate visually, as we are indicating. So the following slide are showing how we're going to be doing that. We are going to have partnership with other stakeholders. This is a contribution process that we're going to engage in terms of partnership. This will be the unit of measure, how we want to measure our successes when we develop the Youth Expo. This is how we are going to be extending the value for money in terms of providing the services of the Youth Expo. And then these are the pillars of sustainable impact, where we're going to expand on access, strategic partnership, clear accountability, and measurable of impact. So now this is the slide that is very important for us going forward. What is going to happen going forward? Since we are able to go to all youth expos, one of the guidance from the portfolio committee is that we must go and seek for partnership. So the first partnership that we went through is to talk to Asisipho. We will go back to the youth that did not win, that did not go to the second level, because we took 10 per each corridor, and then those competed in a finale at Microsoft. So those that were left, they are going to be taught by Asisipho on digital marketing. So we're going to do that through the third quarter. So they will also be employed by Asisipho if they pass the training. So they're intending to take 25 youth in that particular area per corridor. So we are not going to be looking for new participants. We're going to go to those that participated in the previous Youth Expo. So this one that we are going to be doing is to go back to those that did not succeed. So I don't want us to have a scenario where people are calling us and asking us why we're not participating. This one is very specific to those that went to the previous Youth Expo. So the last one that we're going to do is going to be in November, our third quarter. We are now talking to Telkom. We are going to do the same model. We go to each corridor. We target 120 youth because it's impossible to have 1,500 people in one area where they're going to be trained in terms of hackathon because it's a very specialized skill. So we will be doing, we're going to all corridors like we did, but the focus right now will be on G13, but focusing on our departments, departmental programs. A winner that will be identified will then be infused into a telecom department, and they will be able to be employed there. Those particular youth will be going to that program of telecom. So watch the space. We are going to be doing the same hackathons in November. We're starting from the 1st of November up until the month end. So that will be the contribution we're making in terms of skills development for the youth for that particular quarter. I thank you.
Okay, thanks. Can we just ask that you put up the department's WhatsApp channel so that they can join it and you're able to interact with them, to brief them about when these are taking place and so forth? Okay. All right, so that's the information you've had. When the next, what is it, youth hackathons will be taking place, yeah. So, but what we've asked is that they must just put up the information so that you're able to join a WhatsApp channel of the department, because that's where you'll get regular information about the hackathons and any other opportunities that are there for yourselves. So it's, if you can put that up, because these are always opportunities for yourselves, as I tell you. When we've got stakeholders, it allows you to make sure that you've got people that join your channel. Okay. Members, are there any questions from members? I'll restrict it only to members for now. Okay. Member Miso?
Thank you, Chairperson. It's not a question per se, but it's just I don't know whether should I say information, seeking information. I want to appreciate the presentation, Chairperson. However, we understand as a parent, we are in Gauteng whereby most of the youth, they are trapped in drugs. And most of our youth, they are in rehab centers. I want to check the department if they have means of reaching out to the youth that are in the rehab centers with their skill development and capacitate them. We appreciate that they reach as far as rural areas, but do they reach those youth who are in the rehab centers? And if not, do they have plans in reaching out to those youth?
Okay, that's the question, straightforward.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, yes, indeed. The Chief Director would have indicated that we're extending the scope to zoom into services that are required by internal GPG departments. One of those departments is the Department of Social Development that is responsible for NGOs that have got shelters where we have stationed the Tswada rehab young people. And one of the programs that we are proposing to them is that as you are rehabilitating these young people from drug addiction, from substance abuse. There must be something that engages them, that keeps them motivated. And one of those must also be skills development, and which will also include the AI digital skills programs that we offer under Youth Tech Expos. Thank you very much.
All right. I think that's an area, once we're done with the current FIS that we're busy with, we might need to follow up on that and just do some oversight on that work. Okay. All right. Colleagues, we've come to the end of our meeting. Charlene, I've tried to stick to time so that members can still be able to eat. Before I close, maybe if you can just indicate where they go, where they'll receive their lunch, and then I'll move towards closure.
Thank you very much, Chair. We will have lunch at the Primavera. It is one floor down. We'll have Musadiki assist them to move downstairs. Thank you, Chair.
All right. So, members, I know what just if we're just on the final part. I know Wongumuntu is hungry. You all want to go down. So you've heard where lunch will be is downstairs, but they will guide you. What's the area called?
Primavera.
Okay, Primavera is where the lunch will be served, so you'll be able to grab that. But let's thank you for coming for the meeting and listening to the department as they present and to give you the opportunities that are there. I've still not seen from the department, can you put up your WhatsApp channel so that they're able to connect with yourselves? Because post this, they must be able to still get information from you. Members, ladies and gentlemen, this does bring us to the end of our meeting. It's exactly 12 minutes past 1. Thank you. Okay. Okay. What must I talk about? Yeah. Hello. Unjani? Ngiyaphila. Hey. Uhlala la 3 minutes. Just do. Yeah. With okay.
Right, ake siphinde ke sikubingelele sikwamukele sawubona igama Mfanelo UPhenyibheshu ngingowakwaDzanibe. As I've said ukuthi sila Emperor's Palace njengalokho ke umnyango lona obizwa ngokuthi ke e-Gov oholwa iyona ke isishamthetho sesifundazwe sase-Gauteng, the Gauteng Provincial Legislature ukushwa njengalokho ke sinaye ke the Honorable Mbali Hlophe uzwile ke uma ngabe sikuthatha sikubeka kusukela ekuqaleni ukuthi ke ukwazile ukuthi athinteke izinto eziningi sizokwazi ukuthi ke sibheke ngokomsebenzi abanawo siyabonga kakhulu Honorable Hlophe, if you can kindly greet the people at home.
Sawubona igama Mbali Hlophe.
Okay, please kindly take us through what has been the observation yakho la and also the assessment yenu njengoba nila.
As a portfolio committee at e-Gov, we do oversight over a department. So kusho ukuthi siya check ukuthi are they doing the work that they said they will do. Tina, as public representatives, we speak on behalf of a community. We make sure ukuthi a department, because we know what they get tax money, they must be able to use that. So that's why we always call them stakeholders, because as for what papetina ma report GPL without them being present. So we'll always invite them just to come and be able to speak for themselves. Bakwazi ukukhuluma nabo bazibonele ukuthi bajabulile na about what the department is saying, and that's why it's important. My overall observation is that it's been a good meeting.
I see that you also invited as far as the school in terms of the stakeholders. Tell us more about that, and also the inclusion of the youth.
It's very important. You can't speak technology and ignore youth. And we always tell the department this. So they must be able to speak to education and health as primary areas that they must cater for. Particularly education. Abantwana, if you look globally, people are already discussing about technology. They are learning through technology platforms. They've got AI now that's been on board, which is changing the education landscape. So at department yet, we always tell them to be abreast. And young people already know these things, but they need to listen to them and interact with them. So that's why we bring them and we make sure with Baza in their numbers so that they can be able to raise their voice to the department.
Maybe in closing, there's a lot that you have been observing in terms of the presentations. What are your take-homes from the presentations? I know that they also spoke about the 4IR in terms of infrastructure, they spoke about Wi-Fi and their capacity, and also this department being one of the first of its kind, and you have a privilege to be able to make an oversight and lead the proceedings.
A department like e-Gov is the only one in the country. No other province has an e-Gov. So one, it's very important because we understand good as Gauteng, they must spearhead technology. As you correctly say, Wi-Fi, making sure all our services are digitized. Umuntu must not go to a clinic and still wait for a form. I mean, we've long passed that era. Even for kids, must be able to access their school material both virtually and also physically through our textbook and so forth. So there's a lot that needs to be done, and we push and we apply that pressure as a portfolio committee. So that's why I'm saying it, and that's why we make sure we understand the vote that people have given to us, and so ours is to really heighten the voice.
Are we going to see any of these? Are they taking interest in the national government in Nabanye?
I think so. I think they are, and I see a lot of interest even from the public itself. It's just that the department in Ngane doesn't have the budget that it requires. You would have heard, even as they were saying, the budget is not there, but we are pushing and we're going to also raise it in the legislature. We think that this is one of the departments that must be prioritized. Of course, we know there's competing interests. There's education, which requires a lot of money. There's health that requires a lot of money. There's transport and so forth and so forth. But if you don't have technology as the central part of all the services that all these different departments provide, you're delaying yourself. So it speaks for itself why this department must be prioritized.
Honorable Hlope, thank you so much.
Ngiyabonga.
Uyena ke Honorable Mbali Hlope kuyona ke e-Gov zokhumbula ukuthi ke uyena ke namhlanje ongusihlalo oqondisayo futhi uma ngabe sikhuluma ke ngayo ke isishamthetho sesifundazwe saseGauteng. Okwamanje ake sithi ukubuyela ke lapha ya sithi ukukhuphula ke nje nebika sibuyele lapha kuBaba Hlatshwayo masibuya then we'll continue with some of the discussions. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you, Ma'am. Thank you. Jeke iyethula uhlelo ke la bebheka khona ke umnyango lo onokho ongokuqala ukuba khona la ezweni laseNingizimu Afrika kanjalo nje nasesifundazweni saseGauteng. Siyazi ukuthi ke lo mnyango uholwa ke uyena ungqongqoshe umhlonishwa ubaba ke uDlamini. Sokwazi ukuthi ke sikhulumisane naye sichazele kabanzi ngoba siyazi ukuthi lo mnyango ubaluleke kakhulu. Sike sawubona ba introduceile futhi izinto eziningi ezifana nabo e-panic button wake wethula inkulumo khuluma futhi ke nangelukuluka nalo MEC mayelana nabo ke e-waste. Sibheke mhlawumbe ngamathuba kodwa ke soqala sibheke okwenzeka namhlanje. MEC siyabonga kakhulu umhlonishwa ukuthi ke unethuba ukuthi uzokhulumisana nathi la kuThembisa online nasekuruleni nje nabantu abakubukayo. Sicela ukunikeza ithuba ubingelele umphakathi.
Ngibingelele kuwe mfowethu kama nabalaleli ekhaya base ekuruleni ikakhulukazi eThembisa. Yes.
MEC mhlambe masingase siqale ngalokho enikwenza la namhlanje. Kubaluleke ngani kuyini mhlambe mokuchazela umuntu ongezwe makuthiwa first quarter e-Gov?
Umthethosisekelo wezwe lakithi uhlukanisa uhulumeni igabe ezintathu. Kune lokuthiwa i-judiciary labaphethe zomthetho nezinkantolo, kube khona lokuthiwa i-legislature laba okuyishaya umthetho, bese kuba khona i-executive lokuthiwa i-cabinet lapho khona ongqongqoshe kuzwe lonke nama MEC kwi-province. Ngakho ke thina njengo MEC kuma provinces obasibethu ama-provincial legislatures yibo basiphasisela ama-budget, yibo futhi mase waphasa ama-budget abasibizayo bizosibuza ukuthi nanicelele budget nathi nizokwenza ukuthi nokuthi ngayo sayiphasisa niyakwenza yini senikuphi. Namhlanje ke besizo 1 sizophendula imibuzo ababeyibuze ngokwe-last quarter ngokwe-last financial year i-fourth quarter nawuthi sesenzeni ke kwi-first quarter ye-financial year besizokwenza lokho ke namhlanje siphenduleke imibuzo yabo sasho nanokuthi ku-first quarter kusihambele kahle ukuthi kwi-program 2 okuwu-core business sikwazile ukuthola 100% wama-targets ethu kodwa ke ku-program 2 kuno 5% esingakwazanga kumthola ikakhulukazi ukuthola ukusebenza nezinkampani zabantu abasha nabantu abaphila nokukhubazeka. Sishawa ukuthi i-database yethu siyazama ukuyikhulisa kodwa kuba kusishaya kancane kodwa ke at least okungenani siku 5%. Kodwa ke sivumelene nekomiti ukuthi sizosebenzisana to identify senza ama roadshow to identify leyo mkhakha le ukuze sikwazi ukuyireacha i-target yethu. Okwesibili ukungakwazi ukubhadala ama invoice in 15 days ngoba siyibekela ukuthi thina uma sisebenza nawe uyi-service provider fanele sikubhadale in 15 days ufake i-invoice yakho. Sikuvumile namhlanje ukuthi sibe nama-challenges. One adalwa ukuthi mhlawumbe inkampani ayifakanga amaphepha afanele ngesikhathi. Okwesibili kube ukuthi u-treasury usinika imali enqunywa uye ngenyanga. So ke mthotho manje wesikhathi sikhomithe kakhulu ukudlula leyo nyanga kudelay ukuthi iphezulu sesiyibhadala masithola the second chance. Okwesithathu besizokwenza namhlanje ukuzo accounta ngama youth expo nama hackathon lawo besiwenza besihambela ama corridors awonke wo5 la besithola khona abantu abasha sibanika training efanele bese sibanika lezi inkinga ezu13 zase Gauteng ezaba lo premier ukuthi ukusetshenziswa i-technology yini abangayidevelop ukusolve zonke lezi inkinga. Issue yama potholes, issue yobugebengu, issue electricity, issue unemployment, all the G13 problems. Abantu abasha ke they came out bakwenza in the whole in the 5 corridors. Kwase kuba khona the final winner that comes from Johannesburg, which is now absorbed with Microsoft by our incubator bathola stipend, and we are going to be also repeating the same in November, going back again to these corridors because we really want to make sure that abantu bakithi not only abasha kuphela ngoba siba identify lena labo thola ukuthi bawela kule gap yokuthi they are over 35 but at the same time they are less than 60. They balabawela labaka pension kuthiwa basi youth. Therefore fanele sibhekele nje wonke umuntu onelukuluku lokuba ingxenye yalomnotho omusha we digitization because this is the new gold, this is the new diamond ngoba wonke umhlaba is going to digitization.
Mhlambe bayawuqonda yini umsebenzi walomnyango abantu lana hamba khona ithini imibuzo mhlambe enikhathazayo enicabanga ukuthi kusekhona ikhala efanele neyivala?
Iqiniso lokuthi u90% wabantu bakithi ba digitize ngoba u90% wabantu bakithi banama cell phones. Ngakho ke akusadingi ukubhalwa ama love letter, akusadingi ukuthi ngisho imncwabo, ngisho ukucommunicate, ngisho ukubika izifo kumema nemshadweni sesebenzisa ama social media nana. So ba digitize already abantu bakithi. Umsebenzi wale department ukuthi ke ngaphandle kwento ezisocial asiletheke ama government services kwi phone yakho. Ukuze mawufuna ukuya esibhedlela ungadingi ukubamba iqueue uchofe nje ikwazi ukusho ukuthi usubani bani wenza iappointment esikhathi esithize usuyazi nesikhathi ofuna ufike ngase esibhedlela. Second njengoba sikwenza kwa education manje we abazali basadinga ukuthi bayoqueue ezikolweni kodwa bayakwazi ukuregister ingane zabo bayitholile ikhala ngokuthi nje bacofe ba register online. Nokunye ke nokunye umsebenzi ngamanye amazwi asiyitholi kangako imibuzo ethukayo ukuthi nje bazi ukuthi uhulumeni uzama ukuletha izinsiza kuma phone abo digitize everything, we do away with paper, senze impilo zabantu zibe ngcono. Apart from lokho we also use a department that creates technology to help the Department of Public Safety to fight crime. Njengobushile enkulumo yakhe evulayo ukuthi we have developed e-panic button, we are developing ama CCTV cameras, and we are onboarding now even ama metropolis in the system yokuresponda kwi e-panic button. Therefore we are a technology enabling department to make sure that lives become easy, because remember umhlaba wonke is moving to E5IR nasakhuluma nge4IR and we are behind. Apart from that sesikovertake kwe5R there is now AI, which AI is a threat replacing abantu, but all we are saying there is not much that threat AI kubantu aba well trained in technology, because you cannot rely on AI 100% without the human touch and checking whether this is really accurate, so that you don't repeat the mistakes that happened with the National Department of communications. So that is why we are aggressive in training our people. What does this mean? What does digitization mean? What AI means, and why they should be saved with it. That is why we are also even embarking on a program now of engaging abantu abasha sifuna ukubaqhasha as digital ambassadors in all townships abazokwazi ukusihambela ngoba sikwazi ukufinyelela everywhere. Bayayazi imphakathi yabo to educate our people on the advantages and opportunities presented by digitization.
Usakhuluma ngokuqashwa noma ke ngokunikezwa kwabantu abasha ithuba, ngabe mhlambe athina amanye amathuba ngoba ngiyazi ukuthi singakhuluma futhi nango e-waste wakwathi ukukhuluma kwenye inkulumo yakho wathi sekuningi abantu ekusafanele bekubheke i-recycling ngokwe waste e-waste ayikakafiki la ekuthenini mhlambe ikwazi ukwenzela abantu i-revenue, kodwa mhlambe ngaphambi ukuthi sivale ngalokho umsebenzi kakhulukazi ngokwabantu abasha athina amathuba akhona la eminyangweni.
Eminyangweni per se angeke abe maningi leyo ndlela ngenxa yama constraint of ama budgets, kodwa iqiniso ukuthi kuba exposure sibanika ama skills bayakwazi ukuba akuzobheka kuma partners ethu njobe ngishilo ukuthi ma hackathon nje lawa abantu abasha abawinile throughout the 5 corridors uba absorbile Microsoft lezo qala ngoNovember. We are in partnership no Telkom uzoba absorber Telkom abawinayo. Abanye bayakwazi ke nokuvela bona amathuba abo omsebenzi njobe kade uzwile omunye wabantu abasha la esho ukuthi uyi-ICT entrepreneur and a small business lady in Thembisa. She's exposing herself. Here I am, what do you do? In fact, even if kune condition esiyifakayo in any big service provider we engage ukuthi mawuyosebenza kwi corridor ethile please on border ama SMMEs alapho, ngoba yenye yezinto ofanele sikhiphe emqondweni wabantu bakithi ile yokufuna ukuqhashwa. Fanele nabo bakwazi ukuba abaqhashi bakwazi ukukhula, ngoba le sector le ine potential enkulu kabi yokuthi ikhule, ngoba njobe ngisho ukuthi is the new gold. Wonke umuntu udinga ukwazi technology ngoba we are njobe ngishilo nje ukuthi we are all digitized now. It's a question ukuthi how then do we use that to make sure that we make money. Njengoba usho na e-waste, one of the concerns that I have yokuthi almost 60% of our e-waste goes outside South Africa. Instead of us using it here for our economy, because e-waste, we call it e-waste because mhlambi gadget engasasebenzi 2 or 3 parts in your gadget, but the rest of the gadgets are working. So we want to create hubs afana the old car scrap yards where young people are trained to strip out gadgets, salvage the parts that are working, can be reusable, have partners with the manufacturers to say we are salvaging parts wenu la Samsung here bese bakwazi ukwenza imali babathenge. Second is create what we call buy-back centers, like abantu be-waste nje abakhona manje abenza ngo-doti where young people collect e-waste bambe bayoyithengisa buy-back centers. Abanye who are there, they are able then to it's either to strip, salvage those parts that can work, or fix those and sell them as second hand. So there's a big opportunity to e-waste, and we are happy with people that we are partnering in. I'm happy that we have now a e-waste strategy that has been adopted by the province, and we are working on it. We are just waiting in the adjustment that they give us the budget to kickstart, so that young people, please take this opportunity. Every South African has a gadget now, and when it breaks, who fixes it? The rent is not circulating in the townships, it's going somewhere else. Therefore, young people, we must be able to train them to be able to, that rent that goes to Pakistan or Bangladesh, it comes in the township, it rotates in the township.
MEC, hayi, your mouthful, makuthiwa nje cha uyakwazi ukuthi usendlalela ukusuka nokuhlala. Ngiyafisa ukuthi mhlambe ngaphambi kokalolu hlelo lweni ninalo la kaNovember, mhlambe siphinde sibe nethuba lokukhuluma nani, ngaba uwe mhlambe nomunye umuntu eminyangweni, ukuze bekwazi abantu ngaphambi kokuthi kwenzeke siphinde futhi sizobuya sizothi ayisekwenzekile. Mhlambe amazwi wakho nje usuvala sikudedele MEC, ngiyazi kuningi okwenzekayo.
Angimazwi wami sengivala nje ukuthi sithokoze kakhulu kumphakathi waseThembisa ngesupport osinika yona nangendlela masifikile lapha eThembisa. Yakhumbula sizolontsha i-panic button, sizoswitcha on isibhedlela kwi-Wi-Fi, and we are also will be putting up CCTV, because mandate yethu esinikwe uPrima yokuthi we must roll out CCTV cameras, we must roll out free Wi-Fi in all the 26 townships. Therefore, sicela nje ukubambisana between you and us bantu baseThembisa to make sure that we really solve our problems now, and bantu abasha awukwazi ukuyithola uhlele khoneni. Yes.
Ungqongqoshe sibonge kakhulu. Siyabonga Mhlonishwa. Uyena ke ungqongqoshe womnyango e-waste, umhlonishwa ke ubonga inkosi wakwaDlamini la esifundazweni saseGauteng. Okuyilapho ke sikhona, kanti ke la sisakaza thina ebukhoma sise Emperor's Palace. Ukhumbule ke uhlelo lolu silethulelwa abomnyango oyisishamthetho lapha ke esifundazweni saseGauteng, the Gauteng Provincial Government Legislature iwona ke usilethela. Ake sithi ukukhuphula ibika kwenzela ukuthi makukhona okusasele siqhubeke, kodwa uma kungekho sizobuya ke sizoyivala. Okwamanje ake siphinde ke futhi singene ngaphakathi. Right, ake siphinde ke sikubingelele sikwamukele. Sawubona igama lami ngingumfanelo UPhenyibheshu, ngingowakaZanibe njengalokho ke sikuyo i-assessment noma nje ke ekhona la uhlelo esilethulelwa iGauteng Provincial Legislature isishamthetho sesifundazwe seGauteng nobhuti la is one of the stakeholders abutwaka uGrand
yebo ngiright bhuti kunjani
hayi siyaphila kakhulu ubhuti ubani ungwakwabani
okay mina nguthokozani wakaMashiyani Sibongo size la i-government for e-commerce into ze technology la eMzansi wethu zirana i-government
okay mhlambe what is your observation ikuphi osukuthathile othi cha ngiyothi mangifika ngishendlini ngibaxoxele ngalolu daba lwesishamthetho sesifundazwe seGauteng
engaqala ngako bhuti wami ukuthi engikufundile nje ukuthi ugovernment nayo uyasithathela enhloko ingako nathi asibizile njengama stakeholders ukuthi sizodlala irole la ku e-commerce and then another thing ukuthi the world is moving digital so technology is key
okay so kubanye abantu abasahleze ekhaya kuma session afana nalawo ungathini kubona ukuze bekwazi ukukhula nabo ngoba ngicabanga ukuthi luningi ulwazi oluthekelile la futhi oluzokwazi ukukhulisa
okuqala nje kuntsha yethu yaseMzansi ngasho ukuthi i-government inama programs we skill development ewa offerayo there's a lot more kunama study funding also
okay all right there we have it njengalokho ke silapha nje besithi ke asivakashele nathi la uhlelo lolu esizothanda ukuthi ke sikusho ukuthi ke it was proudly brought to you by Gauteng Provincial Legislature i-GPL mawuthanda okuyisishamthetho sesifundazwe saseGauteng kanti mina igama lami ngingumfanelo UPhenyibheshu wakwaZanibe size la kwiThembisa online siyazi ke siyafinyelela zonke indawo la nje wena usibuka ukhona siyabonga kakhulu sibonga kakhulu nakubo kwa GPL ngokuthi ke bekwazi ukuqinisekisa ukuthi ke lolu hlelo luba impumelelo sisakaza bukhoma Emperor's Palace the Palace of Dreams khona la eKempton Park kanti angihambi ngedwa nami ukuyena ke oshutha noma othwebule izithombe kanjalo nemsindo uAsisipho Figlan ebamisene nobaba uJ Hlatshwayo uphinde ke futhi abe khona ngale ya emshinini emkhulu ubaba uHlatshwayo uqinisekisayo ukuthi ke sizwa gala kahle nasemoyeni sizoyivala la thina kusuka manje ngiyazi ukuthi ke inkonzo yokukhumbula ongasekho emhlabeni umhlonishwa ke uThulani Mchunu iyaqhubeka ngale ya eKeta House ubanelo browser Sondlo kanjalo nomhawu ba live yaqhubeka ke leyo nkonzo kusho njengoba thina siyivala ngapha wena ungaqhubeka ubuke yona leyo nkonzo siyakubonga ke nawe njengombuki nomlandeli weThembisa online igama lami ngingumfanelo UPhenyibheshu ngingowakaZanibe isibongo